Matt, my gig got here nice and quick. So up bright and breezy in the hotel, had my breakfast, got out the door. I'm now at my gig for today, which is a charity bash in Amesbury, which is near Salisbury. So yeah, it's all go. It's all go. Thank you to all those got involved on last night's live chat. Good to see you. We had about an hour and 3/4 live chat. Outstanding work, folks. Well done. Thoroughly enjoyed it. But I said I'd try and do one here. Phone reception is a little bit hit and miss. I keep getting sort of 3-4 bars in reception and it drops down to 1. So if this goes all blocky, you'll need to tell me. Gareth, good to see you. My Black Friday gopher. Good man. Yes, someone got a deal on that Honer Jack bass, didn't they? 122 quid. I just hope the electrics are good, because that will be 38, 39-year-old bass. Hopefully it's all working well, and whoever paid 122 quid just got an absolute bargain. And if they're going to use it on gigs, it'll serve them very well. Jim Hawkins, good to see you. How are you? I have still got your message on my notice board. Lessons for Jim. New year. It's going to be an ideal time. We will do that, Jim. It's there in a big sheet of paper with big capital letters. Lessons for Jim. I'll be in touch once we get New Year out of the way. Christmas and New Year. I've got a long 3-month period in my diary with no gigs, so I'll be able to fit some in. Westford, good to see you. Hope you're well. Hope the weekend is treating you all very good. Very good. So I've got a couple of hours to kill. I'm just sat here, really. Rest of the band aren't due till about 4 o'clock. There's probably people and organisers here, but it's not my gig. It's the singer's gig today, and I don't really want to go in there and start being the face of representation, so to speak, because then suddenly you get lumbered with a load of jobs of which I know nothing about, and I haven't organised anything today. I'm just part of the band, so I will let the singer get here and let him deal with it all, because that's the way it is. I know when I used to do these sort of gigs and you do all the booking and the info, I didn't want anyone else in the band dealing with it, because my relationship is with the client. So I know what's been organised. Unless I did a coordination sheet for the band and I told them this is the name of the organiser and this is what's happening and we've got to be here for this and this is what time we start. But anyway, it's none of my business today. I'm just the bass player. Turn up, play, go. That's it. So it's all good. Yeah, Jim, I'm good. I am good. I've had a very good night's sleep. And yeah, everything's rocking and rolling today. Electric Lowen, you're going to get loyalty points, sir, very soon. You can turn up on all my live chats. Fabulous. Afternoon, it snowed here. Oof. Well, from tomorrow, going to get cold here. I think we're dropping down to about 6 degrees, but I've just driven from Poole in Dorset to here in Amesbury, and it's 15 degrees, but it's going to be a hell of a drop overnight, apparently. 'Tis what it is. 'Tis what it is. So what's happening? What's everyone doing today? Are you out buying stuff? Are you doing any gigs? If so, where are you playing? Who you playing with? What are you playing? What you got? Westford, which bass did I take? Same two I had yesterday. So it's the 2 Precisions. I've got the Black Fender and I've got the G&L LB100, which I was waxing lyrical about on last night's live chat, frankly. Did its first gig with me last night, and I was very pleased and very impressed. So, as I keep saying, I think it's the best P bass I've ever played. Honestly, I can't recall picking up any other P bass, and Lord knows, I've not just Fender variants. I've picked up sort of handmade custom affairs from luthiers across the continent, and yeah, I've reviewed so many P basses over the years, but I don't think I've actually played one that's made me feel like this about it. It's I pick it up and I play. It kind of plays itself. It's just lovely. Sustains, got an amazing tone. Set up to just play really great. Pickups fab. Hardware and bridge fab. Balance is great. Neck profile is everything I would want on a P bass without being too chunky or too slim. You don't really get P basses with slimline necks, but all the necks I've got on my P basses is different. This one's just great, just really great. And if anyone's interested, I know we've been talking a bit about G&Ls just lately. So I bought an L2000 about 2 months ago, and now I've got the LB100. Bass Direct here in the UK have got an L2500, which is the 5-string version of the 2000. Up for about 1300, I think. It might be 1250. I've just had a quick scoot across the bass retailer sites here in the UK, and they've got on there secondhand, of course, pre-owned. But if you're looking for a 5-string G&L L2500, there you go. Westford, it is the Queen gig. Yes, I did one last night, got one tonight. Very nice. You're playing tomorrow at 2. Good. Best of luck. ES Claudia, guitar. Hey, bass guitar is our channel, but maybe you're playing guitar. It's all good. Folks, don't forget to give the live chat a thumbs up. I can see the thumbs up meter is scrolling as people add the thumbs ups. Please do that. It's most important. So yeah, it's a night of Queen covers, Queen tribute tonight. The guitarist I was working with last night as well, although weirdly he went, well, I know why he goes home, because he's got stuff to do in the morning, but he went home from last night's gig in Poole, went all the way down to Torquay, and now he's had to come all the way back to come play here in Amesbury. But it's his fuel, his driving, so he's welcome to it. I realized when I looked in the diary, and I just thought there's no point going home. I'll spend as much in having a hotel and getting a good night's sleep as I would if I drove home and paid for the fuel. So I might as well just stay here, or stayed in Poole as I did. So it meant also we finished quite early last night. I was in the hotel by midnight. All good. Got a good night's sleep. Did a live chat with you fabulous folks. Had a bit of a lie-in. Nice breakfast. On the road. Easy. Gaz, what are the tribute G&Ls like? I know some people who've had them and said they're great. I've reviewed 2 in the past, and they were great. I have read other people say they got a tribute model and it wasn't quite what they were hoping for. So I guess with all that lower end made in the Far East, so I've got a load of fluff on me from the towel in the hotel. Seems to have smothered my face somewhat. Yeah, like any manufacturer that does like a reduced cost, Far East produced version of their catalogue, they can be hit and miss, I guess. So you might get one that's great, you might get one that's not that great. I guess it's just sheer luck of the draw, but that's what you got to go with it, you know. Play these things rather than just buying blindly. I mean, I would suggest if you were interested, or anyone's interested in the L2500 Bass Direct, just go there and try it. You're going to spend that amount on a bass, go and try it. I've known people that ordered L2500s on spec, just, you know, order one and get it. Didn't like the neck, but they're not all the same. If it's a custom order, it would have been, I know with G&L, if you place custom orders, you could spec the neck profile. So I'm guessing that they're all going to be different. So you've really got to go and play it, decide if it's for you, and then take a pump. But same with tributes. As I say with any bass, you got to take each bass on its merits. Don't play one and think all the basses of that type, of that range, of that model are going to play exactly the same. They probably won't. And if you stacked up 10 examples of the same bass from the same range by the same manufacturer, I'd pretty much say you're probably going to get 2 or 3 that are amazing. You're going to get 5 or 6 that aren't that great, and you're going to get a few that are pretty awful. And that's just the way it goes. So you've got to take each bass on its merits. If it's good, that's fabulous. Doesn't necessarily mean all the examples of that bass will be. But sometimes you get a manufacturer or a range and they are all the same. But I would never take someone's word for that. I'd want to play it. And generally now I don't like buying stuff unseen and untried and unplayed, because you just don't know what you're going to get. And you can buy what is reputably a very good, potentially high range bass. The previous owner or owners might have completely trashed it. You just don't know. They might have the truss rod cranked to the max and that thing's ready to pop, in which case you don't want to be going near that. So generally, when I see a bass now, if I go and test it in a store, I'll take a box of Allen keys with me and I'll give it a quick test, because if that thing ain't moving, I ain't buying it. West 4 makes the thing of a bass U. I don't know what that means. Rejig your English sentence structure there. Rewrite that. Write that one again. You bought. It's like a collection of English words and I've got to rearrange it to make a sentence. I don't know. Try it again. I'm just teasing you, you know. I'm going to eat my lunch while we're at it, so. Also, we're playing quite early tonight, so better get my lunch in now, because I say quite early. I think we're on at 8:30. We finish at 10:30, so it's all good. Westford makes me think of a bass I bought. Well, there you go. I think with that bass, maybe you didn't test it as thoroughly. Did you test it? Did you actually? Did you get to play it before you bought it, or did you just buy it assuming it was going to be amazing? If you did try it before you bought it, you didn't get into the inner workings and sort of real thoroughness of testing it. But again, these things only come with experience and time and playing lots of basses, that you know what things to look for and all that. Buttery fingers. That's all right. That's all right. Yeah, the towel I've had my shower with this morning seems to have deposited half of its lining on my face. So I look like someone's just washed my face with a bunch of cotton wool. No cake. No. Don't do cake every day. Only most days. No, I haven't done any cake for core. About a month or so, I think. No, don't do cake every day. Westfall, you played it when you were going to pick it up. Okay, well, as I say, you probably didn't go thoroughly enough into. You wouldn't check it. You just wouldn't have checked it. You'd have assumed that the graphite neck was going to be perfect. So you've learnt lessons that will stand you in good stead for the rest of your playing career. Lessons in bass, correct. That'd be a YouTube channel. Could be on the thing there. So I know the background isn't particularly glamorous and salubrious, but I don't want to get lumbered with other people's jobs. So wait till the rest of the band get. And also I was testing if the connection is, the mobile signal was good. Because if it is good, then potentially I might be able to do a sound check live chat for you folks. You can hear the new bass. You can hear, compare and contrast the precision with the G&L. Beat after beat, good to see you, my man. Hope you're well. Hope everything is good. Oh, someone's been a bit noisy overhead. It's gone very dark and cloudy. Don't rain while I'm loading in. Yeah. So last gig of the week, then I've got no gigs until the 28th, which is the Black Friday day, when we're doing Brooksy's Bass Superstore on Black Friday morning. If you want to come and join in, you can. We'll be live from 10 a.m. UK time. We'll go through till about 1 p.m, maybe 2. 2 p.m. I've got a Queen gig that day over in Essex, so I'll have to end quite promptly with that and get off to my gig. But it should be good. Try and find you guys some bass bargains online. Save you some money in these cost-cutting times. Beast of a beat, quite. Beat after beat. I've been putting up at least 5 new shorts every day for 2 weeks. And have you seen progress? What are your analytics saying? I tell you, you're putting up 5. I tell you what, slim that down to 3. If you overload it, you won't see the benefit. When you put a short up, you've got to give it some time to breathe so the algorithm can find who it needs to push it to. If you do 5, it kind of doesn't work and you're overloading the algorithm. And what you'll also find is you start to create a trend that YouTube expects you to put up 5 a day. I was doing 3 a day, and at the moment I'm not putting any up because I'm just too busy to go in and spend my time remixing shorts from the live chats. But that'll all be changing this week, so I've got no gigs for 2 weeks. So but unless 5 is working for you and you've seen a huge change, slim it down to 3. 3 or 2 is good. Jim Hawkins, what are some of the tunes on tonight's set list? I can tell you. Hold on. Let me just eat this. Yeah. I can tell you straight off the top of my head. I think we're doing the same as last night. So it'll be One Vision, Tie Your Mother Down, Another One Bites the Dust, I Want It All, Who Wants to Live Forever, You're My Best Friend, Under Pressure. We're not doing Save Me tonight. Crazy Little Thing Called Love, Fat Bottom Girls, Wanna Break Free, Kind of Magic, Don't Stop Me Now, Somebody to Love, Hammer to Fall, Radio Gaga, Bohemian Rhapsody, We Will Rock You, We Are the Champions, God Save the Queen, Thank You and Good Night, and I'm on my way home. Beat after beat, you're creating 10-second music videos. Okay, cool. But again, if you overload the algorithm with too much, it can't let the, like when you've put 3 up and you've still got another 2 that day, it's still finding people to look at the first 3. And if you add another 2, they're probably not going to get the projection that they probably deserve. Experiment with it. You'll see it in the analytics. If 5 works, fabulous. If you find it's like you're not getting the rises, then you might want to scale it back to 3 and give enough time, like a couple of hours between each one. If you just bombard it, the algorithm just doesn't really take any notice and you're selling the video short. You're getting new subs and views in the hundreds. Well, then you don't listen to me. Just do your own thing. And if it's working, that's great. Yeah, Jim, great set list. Yeah, it's all the hits, pretty much. All the big hitters. Costumes in the back, backlines in the back, lighting is in the back, all the gear. I'm only going on my experience beat. I upped my production in through the summer, May, June, July, August. I was trying to put up 3 remixed shorts every day, going back through the old live chats and remixing content out of the videos, and it worked. That's what kind of made the views skyrocket to 1 million. But I haven't been doing it for about the past 6 or 7 weeks because I've just been flat out doing other stuff. So I'm going to get back into that this week. And yeah, get back into the shorts, start looking at the analytics for where the channel's going after Christmas. Loads of demos, reviews, old interviews going out, pedal stuff this week as well. And we'll try and get enough content so I can literally just be editing, so I haven't got to be doing any filming for a while. The channel has over 30,000 views. There you go. You see, you've got to use your analytics. Let your analytics guide you, and let the YouTube advice in the analytics point you in the right direction. You might want to look at, if you don't already use it, you can download the free vidIQ Chrome extension, and there's some good tools in that. I pay for vidIQ, so I get all the bells and whistles. It makes a hell of a difference. Gaz, what's your favorite Queen album track or B-side? I always loved Staying Power. Staying Power live is like it's like a bullet out of a gun. Love it. If you don't know what I'm talking about, check out Staying Power on YouTube from Milton Keynes Bowl from '82. It's relentless. It's just amazing. I got so many Queen tracks, really. I can't even pick a favorite album. I used to, but then the album would change almost every other day as to what my favorite was. So it's when you're so attached to a band like that, your favorite album can change on the flip of a coin. So, but anyone who's not experienced the Queen back catalogue, you want Queen 2, Sheer Heart Attack, Night at the Opera, Life Killers, The Game. I love Hot Space. I have no issue with it. So if you want something a bit different, Hot Space is definitely worth a listen. I love The Works. I just wish there was another track or two on there. There are parts of Kind of Magic that are great, parts of The Miracle that are great. You got to have Live at Wembley, of course. Innuendo is a remarkable album. Made in Heaven is a remarkable album. So just immerse yourself in the back catalogue. I think I gave you the heads up on all that, didn't I, Westford? A couple of months back when you broke up for summer holidays. I sort of gave you the selected pointers for Queen listening and viewing. Well worth delving into. And listen on headphones so you get all the stereo stuff that goes on. Please give the video a thumbs up, folks, if you'd be so kind. It helps me, helps the video, helps the channel. Doesn't cost you anything to do it. It's all good. What we got there? Not egg salad, no, it's cheese and onion. What we got there? You got 50,000 views. That's excellent. Gareth Howson, dozen red roses from a darling, B-side of A Kind of Magic. Yeah, it's all right. It's an afterthought. It's not one of their sort of curated B-sides, I don't think. It's actually an extension of elements of Blurred Vision, which is the B-side to One Vision, of course. Sound Systems. Hey, is that a curried egg sandwich? No, it's just cheese and onion. I'm vegetarian. So it's I bring a bunch of these on my gigs in case the food is average or below. So I don't go on stage hungry. Westport. Yes, I listened to most of the tracks you sent and it was great. Excellent. You play bass guitar, EDM bass. I play bass guitar. The whole channel is about bass. If you got any questions or comments regarding bass guitars, feel free. You're an amateur, that's all right. I'm a professional. we're talking the same language. So if I can help, or if any of us can help, ask some questions and we'll help you out best we can. Base and curry. Well, now we're talking, aren't we? Yeah. Base and curry is the dream. Sometimes the two align. Literally, low. Don't be talking about food. You've been fasting for a week. Oh, my man. I only had 1 cup of coffee today. Sorry, I wasn't to know. It's taken a while to eat this, you know. There we go. I sorted that out. Sound systems. How do you make your fingers hurt less? You don't. You got to play through it. The calluses just keep getting worse. You've got to just keep playing. Is it just suck it up until the thicker skin covers it? Yep. Or what should I do? Just keep playing. Don't. The problem when you start getting sore fingers is that you start to then kind of, normally that comes about from not being able to hear yourself on stage, especially if you're playing with drums. You start playing harder and harder to get above the din. Don't do that. It's natural to do it. Don't do it. Just maintain your volume. Just play as you regularly do. When you're at home practicing, just play. Just play. The skin and the hardening up of the calluses just comes just with playing. If you've got tender fingers, just play at home when you're watching the telly. You don't need to be plugged in. It's just the physical, the fingers on the strings, and it just builds up. It just builds up. There's no quick way to do it either. I mean, I used to do in one of my old covers bands. We used to go to the Middle East and do like a month of shows, 28 shows on the bounce. First 4 or 5 shows, great, fine. After about show 8 or 9, you start getting the sore fingers, but my calluses are rock hard. By the time I came home from those trips, literally my calluses were like steel, like literally just, it sounded like you were tapping plastic or metal. And the annoying thing is you're not maintaining that gig every day cycle. So over time, when your gig number of gigs you're playing sort of drops, the calluses start going softer again. But you just build it up, and don't ever be afraid. I mean, I wear calluses off occasionally. Sorry, you can't really see, but I've got like a patch of new skin building there at the moment. They come and go. The worst thing is doing dishes and not wearing rubber gloves, because the stuff they put in washing up liquid will just tear this skin to smithereens. So best to wear gloves when you're doing that sort of thing. But just playing, and like I say, do it when you're watching the telly, no one else is about, and it's just playing nonsense, just playing exercises, but just finger exercise and playing the strings, and that's what builds it up. But I mean, you can't replicate gig playing, because when you do that, you're to a different kind of place, and you go on autopilot and you're playing, and you've got adrenaline going, and adrenaline will kind of reduce any finger pain you might have. It's just natural body mechanics of adrenaline. That's what it does. It's like an anesthetic. And then you finish the gig and it's like, Christ, my fingers are sore. It happens, but there's no way to get around it. You've just got to build those calluses. If you don't, you will always have sore fingers when you play. But sore fingers from playing, that sort of reduces, and once the calluses are there, it's all good. Well said, Westford. Yep, keep playing, beat after beat, play through the pain. There you go, and keep it relaxed. Correct. Juice Billy Sheehan always says on start of tour he has calluses on calluses. Yeah, that's the way it has to be. And then someone like Billy who's doing hundreds of gigs a year, although I don't know if he still is doing it at that sort of rate. It's exactly that. It is just playing and playing and playing and playing and playing. And over time, I can't even remember really noticing that McAllister's developed. They just did. And then there comes a point where you can gig regularly and you don't really feel it. It's just, they're there and you just play, But I don't do those 28 show gig runs anymore, sadly. So I haven't had to go through that experience for a long while. But yeah, I don't know if you can see. But they kind of go like a bit yellowish. It's all right. But yeah, sound system. What kind of music do you play? I play everything. Like 90 to 2000 Billy Joel type stuff, or 80s and even more modern. I play anything and everything. The only thing I don't do is jazz and metal. Other than that, I play everything. So my main band is a 9-piece disco funk show band. And I do Queen tributes, I do ABBA tributes, I play in wedding bands, function bands, I do covers bands. Anything and everything. But I don't play for free and I don't work on the cheap. I used to and I don't anymore. But other than that, I'll do most things. I'm at a period in life where I get to do the things I like rather than the things I have to do to pay the bills. So I get to pick and choose kind of what I do. But for years I ran my own covers bands and did all the bookings and dealt with clients and all the organizational stuff, PA, lights, all of that sort of thing. So now I don't. I literally turn up, I play and I go, and I love it. Do you know how to play roundabout? Yes, I do. I'm a big fan of Chris Squire. If you lurk a little deeper on the channel, if you go to the interviews playlist, you'll see an interview. Well, you'll hear an interview I did with Chris Squire back in 2014, when the Heaven and Earth album came out. That interview was printed in Bass Guitar magazine, probably around July, August, I think, of 2014. So if you have back issues, you'll find it in there. But the video, I could go scouting, but if I do, the live chat will interrupt. So if you just go into the interview playlist or just go on the channel and search for Chris Squire, that interview will fly up. So yeah, I was a big fan of Yes, still am. I've never been to a Yes show. The lineups I would have wanted to see, I say the ones I would have wanted to see, there were a few lineups through the 90s and early 2000s that I probably would have gone to see, but I didn't. And now, you can't see it with Chris. Well, you'd want to see it with Chris, wouldn't you, really? But I have I think I've got all the albums up until, it's got to be about, we were saying this last night, about 2009, maybe 2010. I haven't really bought any of the albums since. But yes, I do know how to play roundabout. Can't do it in the car, obviously. But yeah, I'm a big fan of Chris's. God knows I use the same strings. What brand is your amp, speakers, bass? Amps, well, amplification, I'm an Aguilar endorsee. So I use SL212 cabs, which are the 2x12 lightweight cabs. I use the AG700 head. I use a DB751 occasionally. Used to use EBS, still got all my EBS gear. I've got various amps by different manufacturers. Strings, preference is rotor sound, but I do use other strings on certain basses. Bass wise, I've got 45 basses, so very hard to pick out one brand or one bass that I use. I use lots of different basses for different jobs. Juice, any bassist you wish you had the chance to interview? Yeah, lots, but never got the opportunity to. Yeah, lots of them. I'd like to do a face-to-face with John Taylor and not have a 30-minute restriction. That'd be good. Would have liked to interview Entwistle. Would have liked to interview, I mean, God, Jameson, Jacko would be great, wouldn't they? Get those two in a room. I've been very lucky that I got to do most of the people I wanted to do. Geddy Lee would have been fun, although, again, I'm not a fan of Geddy's singing voice. I love his play, I just don't like his voice. I want to do, and we were talking about this last night, I've been a big fan of Roachford for years, going back to the start. 88 was when I first heard of them. And I loved his bass player, Derek Taylor. I'm very fortunate that I met Derek in 1998. And about 6 weeks later, I needed to put a disco band together to go to Moscow, which we did. And I got in touch with Derek and he gave me a list of people. And through that list, I managed to piece a band together. And then we kind of messaged each other around about late 2000s, early 2010s on Facebook. But we've never physically met and shook hands since 98. And about 4 years ago, he got in touch. He'd seen the channel and he'd read stuff I'd done in the mag, and he said, "Oh, I want to have a chat with you about amplification." I said, "Go for it." And we had a right old chat about what he was using and Aguilar stuff and blah, 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 blah. Anyway, recently, obviously, people will know Andrew Roachford, and his current band have been out on tour. Support with Level 42, and my love of Roachford has never waned. A very different band now to what it was when in their heyday with the first 4 albums. But I still love Derek's playing, and those first 4 albums are just fab. I now have them all on my phone. I was listening to them on the way home from gigs last week, and I've got on there also a folder which is full of the B-sides and extras that used to be on the CD singles and 12-inch singles. And I've also got a recording of them when they supported In Excess at Wembley Stadium in 1991. So I had all that playing. And I messaged Derek out of the blue. I said, "Hey, how you doing? Quick question. You got a recording of yourself playing at Wembley Stadium in 91? He said, "No." He said, "I've never heard it." I said, "You are joking. That was broadcast nationally on Radio 1. Are you telling me no one in Roachford's camp recorded it or got a family member to record it?" And he said, "Never heard it." I said, "Good, watch your phone. Next 5 minutes, you're going to have all that audio." And I sent it to him. I think he was a little bowled over. He was like, "Oh my God." He said, "Have you got any more?" I said, "Yeah, I got a few," because usually when Roachford played in London, Radio 1 or Capital Radio recorded it and broadcast it. So I'm going to go back through all my cassettes and stuff and digitize all this stuff. But yeah, and I've also, I know, to me, we've not performed together, but we bump into each other and we chat. Lex Cameron, who was the original keyboard player for Roachford's touring band, he and I first crossed paths when we were out in the Middle East. So he was with a band that were leaving the venue that we were playing at, and we were coming in. And at the time, I didn't put 2 and 2 together. I didn't realize it was the same guy. And then I looked up something, see what he did, and it said he used to play with Roachford. I was like, he wasn't the guy in the cowboy hat. Yeah, he was. And Lex and I now cross paths quite often on the festival gigs, because he's out with Heatwave and I'm usually there with Uncle Funk. So we've crossed paths quite a bit in the past couple of years. So it's always good to see him and sort of check up on how he's doing. So yeah, going through the whole Roachford thing. So I'd love to do an interview. It's great. There's an idea fermenting in this brain that I'll get Derek on camera and we'll have a chat, and I'll film it and put it up. Seriously good bass player. Seriously good. Go and check out On YouTube, there's a couple of people have put up a broadcast that was on BBC Two, I think it was, back in 1989 when Roachford were promoting their first album, and it's from Inverness. I think this place called the series was called Sounds of Eden, and it was a venue up in Inverness in Scotland. And every band, pop band that was playing there around that time in '89, so it was like Deacon Blue, Roachford, just a bunch of other bands all going through this venue, and BBC would film them and then put them on. And someone has put the original recordings up on, or a couple of people have, on YouTube. So check out Roachford, Inverness. I think it's called the Eden Centre, might be, from 1989, and you'll see this like 45-minute performance. They did a whole gig, but the edited highlights, if you like. Derek's the bass player. Yeah. Thank me after you've watched it. Where's Thoughts? Status Empathy. What are we talking about? What are we talking about? What are we talking about? Are you going to buy one? I can highly recommend them. I have two. Gareth, Geddy Lee did an okay job with Yes for the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. Yeah, but don't think anyone can replace Chris Squire. I agree. Chris Squire was a monster. Vocally and bass playing wise. He definitely kind of cut his own path. It was like ice going through a mountain range. He just sort of carved his own path and nothing was stopping him. Legendary. Mr. Lover, good to see you. Any tips for going to an audition? Yes. Shall I bring basic or should I go and put the car seats down? Okay. You need to speak to the band leader. You need to know if they've already got a bass player and you're replacing someone they've had. Find out if you can what they used, which will give you an idea to the sound they expect. Ask them, are they providing backline, or is there backline in the rehearsal studio? And then from them, if it's a general covers band, you want something that's up to the job. If it's a particular genre, then take that into account. So if it's a Motown band or an old soul band, you don't want to be turning up with all the bells and whistles, latest high-tech gear. That's probably not what they're expecting to see. But if you can get those little pointers and it points you in the right direction as what you need to take, then go for it. Alternatively, there might be gear there, in which case don't take anything. Maybe take an amp if you can plug that into the speakers. But yeah, just suss it all out. It doesn't hurt to ask questions. And if they don't come back to you, then go with all the gear to be prepared. And if you don't need to take it in, then fair enough, would be my advice. Nothing worse than turning up and finding there's no amplification and you didn't bring anything. And then they go, well, where's your amp? So do what you need to do, but find out in advance as much as you can. Ask questions. I always prefer, and I always gave brownie points to people I was auditioning if they asked questions beforehand, because they've bothered to think about it, as opposed to just turning up, rocking up and thinking they're just going to get the job. Much better if you've asked questions and you've tried to find out a bit about what the band is and how it works and all of that sort of thing. Oh, Westford, you say, is it the bass I play the most? It's the Empathy. Yeah, that and the GB, the Kingfisher Blue. Those are my go-to basses if I'm turning up for gigs and I don't know what to expect, because I know they will cut through a band mix without any problem. Two basses solve every problem, but they're not always the ideal. You know, the Queen thing, I have to use precisions whether I like it or not. So yeah, but I never have a problem taking other gear out. Once I do a few gigs with a band, if I become a regular dep or whatever, you can work out what fits and what doesn't and what's suitable, and then it's kind of left up to you to bring what you want. So, you know, I have no problems taking a Spectre or an Ibanez or a Dingwall or whatever, you know, but it's like I wouldn't take a Yamaha Attitude to a funk gig. It's not going to have the sounds I want. So, you know, that sort of thing. But yeah, trying to do your due diligence before an audition or a rehearsal or a gig. Just ask questions, even if it's just do you want me to bring an amp? Is there gear provided? If you know what the set list is, then that should be giving you a rough idea of kind of what they're looking for. As I say, if you go into a soul gig, they're probably going to be looking for something that's a bit, they want body and balls. They don't want twang and snap. They don't want hi-fi bass sounds with lots of transparent glassy highs. They're looking for bottom end thump and good solid mid-range and bottom end. But don't mistake solid bottom end and mid-range for woolliness. Like, you don't want that. You want nice, tightly defined bottom end, mid-range thump, good to go. It can be sometimes just changing your strings can give you that extra X factor. Can be. I've done that before. Used half wounds or flats if that was more akin to what someone wanted. Try and read their mind a bit, but again, if you know who they've had on bass before and the bass sounds that guy has, hopefully if you're auditioning for a band, they'll have sent you some videos. I mean, now we never really had that when I was doing covers bands. You just turned up and did the audition, hope for the best. But nowadays, invariably every band's got video demos, so you can see kind of what the previous guy is or isn't doing. Sometimes that can give you an insight as to what not to do, because if he was trying to cut his own path and that was rubbing up against the rest of the band or the band leader, steer clear of that. Gail Harrison, you could use a Stingray on the Queen gigs. I could, but I don't. I haven't got one that looks like the one he had, although I did venture down that path of getting a Sunburst with a white plate Sterling years ago. But I just don't bother. And to be honest, the songs that he did use a Stingray on, you don't want to get in that sort of rut of having to keep swapping basses over just to have the bass that suited the song when it was originally recorded. And John Deacon stopped doing that. The Stingray was always there on stage, but very rarely after 82, I think was the last visible use of the Stingray for Another One Bites the Dust on a tour. After that, he just never bothered. It was always there on a stand. He just never used it. So he's just stuck with a precision. So that's kind of what I do. And now this G&L, if I could use the G&L on the whole gig, I'd be very happy. So if anyone out there has got a black G&L LB100 with gold hardware, I want to buy it off you. But I don't think there's many out there. 7-Eleven, hope you're having a great day. I am. I'm doing very well, thank you. I'm just sat here outside the venue where I'm going to be playing tonight with the Queen tribute, charity do. And rest of the band haven't turned up. I got here very early because I stayed over in a hotel at last night's gig, and I've just had like an hour's drive, hour and a quarter's drive to the gig. So nice and easy day, no stress. I won't be late. I'm already here. Gaz, the thing is, flats tend to have more tension, and if you're not used to them, your fingers feel it after a gig, especially on your picking hand. No, I get that. You can get different tension flats. Not all flats are the same tension. You just got to do a bit of experimentation and buy some different brands and find what works. But I keep saying, flats aren't the be all and end all. Try some half wounds. Yeah. Try some half wound nickels if you can find those. They might be good. I love halves. I really do. Some basses just sound really good. My Lakeland 5502's got rotor sound pressure wounds, which are their version of half wounds. Love them. They're bright enough that they zing and pop, but not so bright that they take your head off like a standard set of steel rounds will. And they're great, and they feel great. Sound systems. Ever considered doing a pub tour down under? No. You can almost get a paid for trip if you're up for constant pub performances. None of the bands I've got would do that. You would need a promoter to do that, to guarantee it. It's a hell of a punt if you get down there and find you got no gigs. I used to play all the Aussie and South African and Kiwi bars here in London regularly. So I've kind of played to that crowd here and gone home to my own bed after each gig. So no, doing a pub tour of Australia, no. Not unless I was in a band and there was a promoter there or someone had a contact and they sorted it all out. But I wouldn't want to be doing all that driving. No chance. Flying. I insist on flying to Scotland. I'm not driving. Not for gigs. You got to be joking. Or someone can come pick me up. I don't drive to Scotland. Last time I did that was 2019 for my very first Queen tribute show, and I won't be doing it again. Put it that way. The fee was lovely, but I'm not doing that drive for a gig. You got to be kidding. I know people that do, but I won't be. Yeah. I used to love doing the Aussie and South African gigs. They were great. Please give the video a thumbs up, folks. I can see lots of people are watching, but the thumbs up level is a bit static. So please give the video a thumbs up. Doesn't cost you anything. It's literally a mouse tap or a tap on your phone screen. Thumbs ups are the most important things you can do for a YouTube creator. And it costs nothing. Nothing at all. How about that? It helps to promote the videos and the channel within the algorithm. Rock fan, good to see you. How you doing? I mean, you can always buy Brooksy's Bass Corner merch if you want to do that. Got the old sky blue shirt on today. I haven't put any affiliate links or merch links in description box. I'll be doing that probably tomorrow when I get home. I don't do all that on the phone. It's pain in the backside. You don't know what you're copying and pasting. But yeah. So yeah, there we go. There we go. If you've got any questions about bass guitars, amps, effects, advice, playing advice, guidance, if I can help in any way, feel free to ask. What's my next gig? I'm right here, right outside it, in Amesbury, just north of Salisbury, where Stonehenge is. Doing a show here with Queen Tribute tonight. I'm all packed. I'm loaded. Did one last night down in Poole, in Dorset, at Poole Yacht Club. And it was quite fab. We had a good night. Got well looked after. And yeah, please don't walk into my car mirror. I honestly think I've parked in the wrong spot today. People use this as a cut through to get to these shops that are behind me. Stop walking past my car, please. Yeah, so last night was the first gig with my new G&L LB100, which is in the back. And it was quite fab, absolutely fab. So I'm using it for the second set on Queen shows. Use the black Precision with the gold hardware for the first set, G&L for the second. Do the work in the first half, enjoy yourself the second half. That's the way I see it. It's 7:35 in Colorado. It's what time is it here? It's got to be 2:35 here, I guess. Sound system, what's your favorite looping mechanism or software for a good price, if you know about them? I use looping pedals when I do the demos and reviews on the channel. I use a Boss, is it LC3? It's the one that's got the rhythm box built into it as well. So I use that. Before that, I was using a Mua looping pedal. I can't remember. It's got drums all built into it. So basically, the original use for that was when we were doing the pedal video. So I create a bass riff, let it loop, and then connect it up to the pedal and change the settings on the pedal so you could hear all the stuff, which was fine. Didn't make for the most intriguing of watches, I'll be honest with you. But I was finding my feet, trying to work out the best way of demoing pedals. And then I started integrating that into the reviews and demos as well. Give me something to play along to as well. And then upgraded to the Boss thing, I think in 2021, 2022, 22, I think. and just been using that. It's a great piece of kit, relatively cheap, not particularly difficult to use. So yeah, that's what I use. DAW software wise, I don't really use one. I use Audacity. It's free, does everything I need it to do. I've never really had a DAW set up at home. I've never needed one. I've never been offered work where I needed to have one. And I'm always, what's the word? I'm always skeptical about people with DAWs because it just seems to me like a money pit that you're constantly having to keep updated in order to have all the latest software and plugins and drivers, and this stuff never stops. It's constant. And I think how many people I know who went down this route in the early 2000s, and I dread to think how much money they've spent and whether they've recouped even a percentage of what they've paid out to keep their software and their systems up to date and usable. And have they been cost effective? I don't know. I don't know. It's a question I'd throw at anyone. You know, if you worked out how much you've spent, how much did you earn from doing that? I don't know. It's not my favorite thing being sat in front of a PC for days and hours of my life. He says producing YouTube videos, but I do this to what's in there gets out to the world so that I'm not in the same position Nick Smith was. And I do it for a living. I don't do it for an ego boost. I don't do it because I've got spare time on my hands. I see my YouTube channel as a means to earn a living as I get older and gigs inevitably decline in number. I want to do everything that I used to do at the magazine, do everything that I do, you know, knowledge-wise, advice-wise, reviews, bring stuff to the public so you get an idea on gear and what have you without being sold a pup. That's the general concept. Do I think they're worth it for the price? Well, those pedals are great. You know, the Moore one is very cheap. I think it's about 40-50 quid. The Boss one, brand new, I think about 110, 120 pounds. You can get them second hand. I think I got mine for about 55, 60. You know, I've probably made that back in ad revenue from the YouTube videos that pedal's been on. So yeah. And there's loads of the Boss ones. They have various iterations. So you can either buy one of each, try it, and then sell the ones you don't want, or just go to a second-hand pedal store. They'll have some, and just connect them up and see which ones work for you, would be my advice. Rock fan, do the pubs in England usually have their own sound systems and speakers you can plug into? I can't say definitively. A lot of pubs have changed. Some do, some don't. That's always the case. There came a point where more and more places didn't, because they didn't want the cost of upkeep and having to hire someone to do the sound for the bands. So they always insist that the bands brought their own gear. But things change. But some pubs do, some don't. It's not a blanket rule. Or do they tell you bring your own amplifiers? Yeah, but there's that. So I mean, back in my day, it was a case of if you wanted to be in a band professionally and earn money, you had your own PA. And if you didn't need to take it, then that's a plus. And if you do, then you've got it. You use Reaper, Gaz? Yeah, I looked at that early on, but I just think I'd need to invest a lot of time learning how to use it. Like I say, everything I need to do, I managed to do with Audacity. So it's a case of, do I want a DAW setup? If I ended up in a situation where I've got to have that in order to make money and do sessions, then fine, I'll do it. I have no problem with that. The problem is learning software. It takes time. And at the moment, I haven't got time. I don't get enough content up here on the channel. So that's my priority because the channel is paying me money. So that's what I do. Gaz, most pubs you need to bring your own backline and PA, but some do have a PA. Yeah, I would never assume that a venue will have a bass amp. That's a rarity. Some do. O'Neill's in Wardour Street does, purely because the loading is horrific there, and it's a lot easier for the multiple backs. They have multiple bands every night. It's easier just to provide backline, drums, PA, the lot, and the bands just turn up, play, and go. You would rather bring your own PA just because we know it better. there's that element as well. Certainly, Bertley. Like tonight's thing, we're providing the PA. We weren't providing the lights until the organizer contacted the singer this morning and said, oh, you know, I told you there's lights. Well, there aren't. You need to bring your own lights. It's a good job we weren't somewhere else in the country already en route and didn't bring the lights, because you wouldn't have any lights tonight. Not that the guy who's organising tonight is going to watch this. I don't know who he is. I've never met him, never heard of him. He didn't want to pay the deposit. And I pulled rank a couple of weeks ago and said to the the band leader for tonight, I said, you better get that deposit, because if you don't, I won't be there. He said, why? I said, because if you haven't got the deposit, there's nothing to stop the guy cancelling. And then we've got no gig. And I'm trying to book a hotel. I don't want to be booking a hotel and then find out this gig doesn't happen. So you better get that deposit. And he said, oh, well, what if he doesn't want to pay it? I said, tell him if he doesn't pay the deposit, he hasn't booked our services and we can go and take a gig anywhere else we like until he pays that deposit. And if the day before the gig he hasn't paid in full before we leave home, we aren't doing it. Now, this guy sold tickets for this tonight. He had to have us, otherwise he was going to have to find another band. Funnily enough, the deposit suddenly arrived. Funny that, isn't it? Amazing when you give people a little prod, they think they're being smart. No, if you don't pay that deposit, I'm not leaving the house. It's simple as that. We got bitten back in 2003 by someone that had booked us for a wedding, their wedding, and didn't pay a deposit, because back then we didn't take deposits. And as far as we were concerned, we were going. And the day before the gig, I had not been able to get in touch with the bride or the groom in the week leading up to the gig. And the day before, I got an email to say, sorry, we don't want you at our wedding. We booked a DJ. Which led to a bit of, fist smashing on tables by band members. And we said, right, this is the new rule going ahead. Private gigs, 50% deposit. They don't pay the 50% deposit, they haven't booked us. And until they pay the deposit, that gig is not confirmed in the diary. If another gig comes in, they get, I think it was like a 4-hour window to confirm or cancel the booking and pay the deposit. And if they still haven't done it within 4 hours, we take the other gig. After that, so that was 2003, until I left that band in 2015, only 2 gigs out of thousands of gigs we did cancelled or didn't pay deposits. And both of them, they did pay deposit, 50%, but wanted to cancel through their own choice. One was they were going to have their wedding in New York instead of Kent. And the other one was their own mistake. They'd booked the wrong band. They thought they'd booked us, but they'd booked another band. No, sorry, I got that wrong. They booked us, paid the deposit, and then decided they wanted another band. So they said to us, just keep the deposit. Don't worry about it. And we took another gig elsewhere. So those were the only 2 out of probably about 2,000 gigs. So, yeah, it worked. It worked. What about security in the pubs? Yeah, most pubs have got security on the door. Are you planning on coming over here to play? Is that what you're thinking about? If you aren't already here in the UK, you definitely need to look into work visas and stuff before you even start thinking about pub tours. And if you are coming over here to make money from pub gigs, you got to be covers. Don't even think there's an original circuit. There isn't. And you won't get rich quick here in the UK. And also, literally almost every pub gig now is bank transfer. It's not cash in hand, so you have to pay tax on your earnings. Electric low, and nowadays you got to stick up to your guns and say, you don't pay, we won't play. Correct. That's what I do. I say to bands, if you haven't got the deposit and they haven't paid by the day before, I'm not leaving the house. I'm very lucky. In all the years I've done this, I've not been stiffed on a gig fee yet after 4,500 gigs. But things as such, since we came out of COVID, people are trying it on, and either try and, like, they'll agree a fee with the band, then try and cut it, or they don't pay the deposit, and then you think, oh, it's all right, we'll get paid on the day, and then on the day of the event, the person you're in contact with either gets very drunk and can't barely say their name, or they disappear and you don't get the money, and then you got to chase them. I haven't got time for that. It's you either play by the rules, or I'm not leaving the house. Simple. Sound systems. How do you feel about the unknowing for younger generations about bass? As with all the kids, I know some of them don't even know what bass was, and most have hardly heard of it. Well, we've got to show them, haven't we? We've got to show them what all this is about. I do. I like with my nieces and my great niece, I show them the instruments, and I talk to them about music and all of that. And music's a very different thing to, how many bands are out there? Not many. We were having this chat the other night. Was it on the live chat? Was it on Tuesday? And I said, can anyone name me a British band in the last 25 years other than Coldplay? Band, not group. One Direction doesn't count. That's a group. Little Mix is a group. All those that take that is a group. So any band that's come out of the UK that has been a world band, so they could go and do a stadium gig in Australia, Japan, Brazil, anywhere in the US, across Europe, Middle East, Far East, a lot. Name me another band other than Coldplay. I can't think of any. Things have changed. Things have changed radically. There we go. Everyone doing thumbs ups. Yeah. Sound systems. All the kids I know were just about his electric guitar. Yeah, well, again, so you got to teach them bass. What we need is a Mark King of the current generation, because that invigorates people. Oh, I want to do that. I want to do that. See the excitement it generates. All of that. Rock fan, how many sets do you usually play? Depends on the venue. Sometimes it might be an hour. Sometimes it might be an hour and a half straight through. Sometimes it's 2 sets, 2:45. Sometimes it's 2 1 hours. In some wedding bands, you might do 3 45 minutes. It's not like America where you do 4 sets of an hour and do 4 hours for like $20 each. I mean, it's not like that. But over here, number of gigs to play, massively dropped. I've said before, I always feel like I'm repeating myself, but it's not. I'm just reiterating what I've said in the previous live chat. If I look in my diary, 10 years ago, if I looked at the diary for 20 years ago, so mid-2000s, I'd have said about 70 to 75% of the gigs I used to do in London and the Southeast circuit were gone. Now I'd say that's closer to 85 to 90%. Either the gigs don't exist, or it's just DJ, or the venues don't exist, and they've been turned into flats and hotels, or some of the places have just got sound restrictions, so you can't make a noise. It's just the way it is, just the way it is. And a lot of the venues have gone. They weren't making enough money. Managers that always believed in having a band and live music, they've gone, died, given up. But people here in the UK don't really value music. They don't. They say they do. They don't. I get treated better as a musician when I'm out in Europe, elsewhere in the world. I'm not asking to be treated like royalty, but sometimes you get the bells and whistles. But here in the UK, people just take it as a given. There'll be music in the pub and we don't have to pay for it. Fortunately, younger generations see video and audio and films and music and albums and all of that as free. They don't pay for it. And that's the problem. Everyone sees artistry as something for, I mean, God, how many times have I had people say, especially for charity gigs, not for this, but for charity gigs, and they'll say, right, okay, we're doing this gig, can we book your band? Certainly can. There's the quote. Oh, you say, what's all? Well, it's a charity, right? Well, can you not do it for free? No. Oh, but it's a charity. We're trying to raise money. Okay, are the caterers doing it for free? Well, no. And are the security doing it for free? No. And what about the bar staff? Are they doing it for free? No. So why do you think the band and the musicians should do it for free? Well, you do it because you love it. And you try and educate these people and they just don't get it. So, you know, that's what you're up against. That's what you're fighting, really. Oh, there we go. Sleep Token are one of the few breakthrough bands. Okay. Again, I bet they're not a world band, are they? Westfort, that is Ollie. Ollie? I don't know what that means, Westfort. Gav Harrison, if the band I play with plays a wedding, we have a set fee list we send, which includes price for the gig, price for learning specific songs, and prices for extra sets. Good for you. We did the same. Less venues here in the USA compared to the old days. This is it. There's no money in live music at the grassroots level. And that's the problem. Think of the exposure. Stop that. Pack that in. All right. Mark King of this generation is Ollie. Ollie. Peters. Yeah, but he's not famous. He doesn't have a record deal. He's not doing big gigs. But you need someone of that level of excitement, that energy. That's what's required. I don't know where that's going to come from. I don't know. You know, when I was growing up, there were new bands all the time, gigs on TV, you know, music on the radio all the time. It's just different. It was different. The way you found new music was different. Now you're just bombarded. And if you're on Spotify, you're just bombarded with stuff. The wheat from the chaff, you know, a lot of the time. Joe Dart, yeah, but he doesn't write hits, doesn't write pop songs. That, you know, musos know who Joe Dart is. Mrs. Miggins down on number 23. She ain't got a clue who Joe Dart is. That's what you're up against. And it's why Mark King always says, it's all great that I can play fast and all the instrumental stuff and it's fab. The money's in the songs and you've got to get across to the you know, the guy on the street. That's the deal, because they're the ones that buy tickets. They're the ones that buy the albums. That's the thing. Rockfat, can you live stream your gig on the YouTube channel where you'll get hit with copyright claims and copyright strikes? Yep, you'll get all of that. You can try it. Your video might last a day or more if you're lucky, but no. You couldn't do that and earn money from it. So and when you're over here, you have to sign all the PRS forms and provide set lists as well and all of that. But yeah, if you wanted to come over here and do a tour and play covers and do YouTube live streams in order to generate income, that ain't gonna happen. That's not gonna happen. You might make a pound a day if you were lucky, and then, like I say, the copyright stuff might kick in and that'll all go. It's a bit like putting up copyrighted material on Facebook, and within a couple of days it goes to the black and white. This content is not available. It's all that. It's all that. Unfortunately, which is why I don't do bass play-alongs here on the channel, because I just get hit with multiple copyright claims and strikes, and I just can't be bothered with that. You know, as Rick Beato says, he spends more of his time dealing with copyright claims and strikes now than he does actually doing content. Just the way it is. You got to keep clear of copyrighted stuff, really, as much as you can. And it's hard. It's hard. It's like navigating rapids. That's what it feels like. It's not the easiest thing, but you have to be conscious of it all the time. I know I am when I'm putting stuff up. So if there was music playing outside now, I'd have to end this because I'd get a copyright claim. And as I say, I do my YouTube channel to earn a living. I don't do it for an ego massage or just because I've got nothing else to do. I do it because I want to progress the channel and make something that's worth tuning into, you know. Sound systems, what's the hardest and easiest bass tab you know, song on bass? Ooh, where do you want to start? I mean, you're looking at jazz. I'm not a metal fan, so I know metal fans out there go, oh, these songs are the hardest. Easy stuff. Well, I mean, there's plenty out there. I mean, Another One Bites the Dust is pretty easy. It's just, can you be consistent and play it properly? Chic stuff, the same. A lot of chic bass lines, they're relatively easy to get to grips with, but can you play them for like 8 minutes without dropping a note? And that's the challenge. But there's so much good stuff out. You just got to find stuff to play, interesting to play. I always find groove stuff like Chic, James Brown, groove stuff from the 70s. If you can find an extended mix, I think there's like a super long extended mix of Sex Machine, and just really get into that and find little nuances in it, and placing your own fills that aren't in the record that work in the context. That's how you get the old brain cells going. Little fills, so when you come up against similar grooves in different material and different bands, you've got a little library of, oh, that thing will just work there. And if I do that little chord progression, that I can do that movement that takes me sort of up the fingerboard to the next root note. And that's kind of how the building blocks of writing music, you know, or arrangement. That's kind of what that is. You reckon Valerie is the simplest? It can be. You know how many bass players and drummers I've heard play it wrong though? It's a simple groove, but again, simple grooves sometimes just throw people. They just can't get their heads around it. There used to be, I mean, God, general pub rock, pub pop song lists, and there'd be so many songs that you know what they are and what have you, and invariably you'd find one member or both in a band's rhythm section couldn't play it, or they sort of cobbled together their own version of it that didn't sound anything, and you're suddenly thinking, I'm sure I know this song, but it doesn't sound like the song I know. And yeah, that each to their own. Some people love to say, well, you know, I've come up with my own version, but it's not what people are paying to hear, mate. You know, it's like with tribute stuff I've said before, you know, all the hard work has been done for you. All you've got to do is play it, copy it. People want to hear. If you're paying, or if you're charging ticket prices for a theatre show, people are expecting what they're expecting. They, you know, like tonight, the greatest hits of Queen. They expect the versions they know. They don't want, you know, Mike Brooksy's interpretation of what the bass lines might be. They want what John Deacon wrote and performed. Roughan, some people get drunk and stupid. So I ask, how often in your career have you been assaulted on stage from a person in the crowd? Never. As far as I recall, never. I've always taken the Keith Richards stance on this, is that if you get up on stage and it's my domain, you have no argument if I wrap a bass guitar around the back of your head. So, because I don't know if you've got pepper spray, you might have a knife, you might have a gun, I don't know. But if you are stupid enough or drunk enough to put yourself where I'm working, I don't come to your office and stand there drunk and abusive, so don't do it to me. But if you come up on the stage, or if I'm on a floor, and we're all on the floor, and you come into my work area, I will clatter you. Unless you're invited up, like you might be a member of the audience and we know you can sing and you're invited up, that's a different thing. But if you come up and you're drunk and abusive and rude, oh, let me sing, oh, let me have a go on the drums, I will approach you, remove you, and if you're not going to go, I'll just hit you with the bass. I don't really care. I'm not going to get stabbed by an idiot, so it doesn't happen. And if I've done that and people have got the hump, or some, like the organizer, oh, you didn't need to do it. Where was your security? Were you making us safe? No. So he was stupid enough to come up where we were performing. What if he tripped over a cable? What if he fell into the drum kit? What if he walked over a PA stand and it came down on top of him? And then you're going to throw the public liability thing at me for health and safety? No. So, no, I never have a problem with that. But no, I don't think I've ever been assaulted on stage. No. Never had a fight with anyone on stage. I have kicked people up the backside to get them off a stage. That has happened. And people that were edging towards my microphone to be able to sing, and they knew I was aware they were doing it. And then I just sort of managed to spin them around and boot them off. But again, you're not meant to be there. So, you know, I don't come to your workplace and cause you a problem. So don't come to mine. And don't use drink as an excuse. It's not. That's my take on that. Take from that what you will. Gareth, waterfront, yes, good call for simplest. Although, simple, yes, play it without dropping a note. It's played on a sequencer, for Christ's sake. So, you know, it's just a D. But playing that consistently for 3 or 4 minutes is challenging, correct. Easy stuff is the hardest. It can be. Electric Lowen, you were at one gig where somebody threw a Swiss Army knife to the stage and it almost hit one of the band members. Exactly what I'm talking about. You don't know, you can't always guarantee staff on the door have done what they're meant to do. So, like I say, if I don't know who someone is and they're coming up into my workspace, you're going to get it. You're going to get it. And I have no problem wrapping a status graphite base around the back of someone's head. You aren't meant to be there. And the status won't get damaged. Your head might. So, yeah, if you put yourself in the way of harm, then you can't be surprised when it comes knocking at your door, really. Mr. Lover, that's when the Brooksy bass would you read my mind, exactly that. Or the status streamline, because that's solid graphite and graphite shell. And yeah, very easy to wield, that, you know. But yeah, I have no problem with it. And I've never been in a situation where the police have said, oh, you shouldn't do that. So yeah, at the age of 53, it's not been an issue. But like I say, I have no problem kicking people off a stage. There's no qualms for me. Rob Fan, how long does it usually take for you to set up for a gig? What, just bass or PA and lights and all of that? Me personally, I can set up in about 7 or 8 minutes. I can do it quicker if once the gear's in, I can do it in 4 or 5 minutes. Again, depends if we're on IEMs or if there's backline. It doesn't take me very long. I've kind of got it down to a fine art. It's whether you've got time to faff about and have a chat and eat a packet of crisps while you're doing it and all that. But if we're up against it, you know, if I got to a gig late, and that has happened because of traffic, I'll always say, give me 10 minutes and we're done. If I had to do it in 5, we'll get there. You know, we'll get the first set done and I'll redo the setup in the break. But yeah, it doesn't take me long. If you're talking PA and lights as well, in the old covers band, we used to say 45 minutes. And that would be bass, drums, guitar, track, PA, lights, ready to go. So if you're on a wedding and they're sodding about and it's running late, Lord knows I've had many a heated exchange with mothers and fathers of brides and grooms and masters of ceremonies and banqueting managers saying, right, band, they're ready for you. We'll be ready in about 10 minutes. Like, no, you've let them overrun. We were meant to be setting up between 7 and 8, and you've let it overrun to 7:45. That doesn't mean we can set up in 15 minutes. It's still going to be an hour, so 8:45. No, it can't. Well, I'm sorry. You are in charge, and you've let it all go to pot. We can't magically just set up out of nowhere. Got to load all the gear in, get it all set up, check it's all working, check the sound's right, then we're ready to go. If you've let it overrun, that's your issue. Nothing to do with us. We will accommodate as much as we can, but can't just magically set up a band in like 15 minutes. Forget it. It's not happening. Gareth, you don't want people sloshing their pint all over your pedal board. Correct. It's not happening. Rofan, do pubs in England usually have a room off stage for the band to rest away from the stage and crowd? No, not always. Not always. Some do, some don't. It depends if it's a venue or a pub. If it's a pub, no chance. No chance. If it's a venue and they've always got music going on there, then you might have, but I wouldn't take it as a guarantee. Kid on a bike. It looks like he's had sort of 3 bottles of whiskey. He was all over the shop there. He's going to scrape his handlebars down the side of my car. That'd have been good. Yeah. So that's my take on that, to be fair. See, you're plumbing the depths of my experience today. You get all this stuff for free. How about that? In exchange, I'll ask, please give the video a thumbs up. Super is there, of course, if you wish to make a donation to the channel, but you don't have to. The videos are free, although that might be changing a little bit in the new year. We may have some membership tiering going on for live chats. We will see. We will see. I've got to sit down with the analytics and stuff this week and work out how the channel goes forward from January. So we will see. You're rock fan. Oh, sorry. I would come to England to visit only. Last time I was in London was June 2001. It's changed a bit since then. The gig scene has massively changed since then. So back in 2001, I was probably doing probably about 70 gigs a year back then. Not doing that now. This year I will barely, I think, if everything stays in my diary as it is between now and New Year's Eve, I'll have done 74 gigs this year. Big change, big change. But it's 24 years on, isn't it? It's all changed. Look, there are places to play in London and South East. You just got to go and find them. But a lot of the pubs that have come up and are doing live music don't pay very well. They really don't. And the chains, things like O'Neill's and what have you, they've reduced what they pay. So when we used to do it as a 3-piece, we would get usually around £350, £400 between the 3 of us. Some of those places, in fact, I think all the O'Neill's now, I could be wrong because I don't play them, so don't quote me on this, but I think most of them now pay £250 for a band. So if you have 5 of you, you're going to barely make 50 quid. Those places generally are in the centre of town, so you have to pay for parking. You then got your tax and national insurance to pay out of that. There's no money in it. Not as far as I can tell. So thankfully, I don't really get asked to do those sort of gigs these days, but I wouldn't do them. I'd rather stay at home and do live chats with you fine people. And video content. That's where time and money come in, really. How good is your promoter for you professionally? I don't have a promoter. I do it all myself. I don't run any of the bands I'm in. I'm freelance. So basically I get first dibs on all the Uncle Funk shows, and I pretty much do all of them. I've only missed 4 or 5 gigs in 5 years. The Queen stuff, again, I turn up, I do the job. The band leaders ask me, are you available on that date? Yes, you are. Great, fine. Yeah, booked. And that's what I do. I don't have a promoter. Uncle Funk is all dealt with by Simon, the guy who is Uncle Funk. So that's his baby, that's his band. He's in charge of that. The Queen shows generally have a boss man, band leader, and they organise all that. ABBA, same thing. Wedding bands, same thing, really. I don't have a promoter. Gareth, saw a pub near me asking for a band for tonight with a budget of 180. This is what we're talking about. They should just have a solo or a duo. Now, if you're a 3-piece and you're young, 18 to 20, you'd probably take that because it's 60 quid. I just wouldn't do it. I just wouldn't do it. We wouldn't have done it in my old band. I think we did 1 gig that was sub 250 in our whole time, and we all said after we did the one that was sub 250, we ain't doing that again. That's not happening. So, you know, we looked out for each other in terms of having decent amount of wedge in our pocket after a gig. Rob fan, I understand. Thank you for answering your question. That's all right. That's all right. I'm probably not the best placed. I can only give you like an historical view, like, because I'm not doing pubs and clubs really these days. I do it sometimes with the Queen band, but we're getting decent money, so I don't really have to take any interest in. All I know is what I'm getting paid, where I'm playing, what time I got to be there, what time we're on, and that's it. That's it. I keep things, for me, as simple as possible. I'm not interested in making gigs difficult. You're 58 now, okay? You can still, I mean, God, there are gigs over here. You just need to do the work before you get here, because you know, pubs and clubs tend to work. If they have bands, they will have a constantly rotating schedule. You got to get in on that schedule. I mean, God, if I was a musician in a band coming from another country, you've got to get all that stuff lined up and in writing before you get here. You can't just sort of rock up in the UK and think, oh, we're going to do a 100-date pub and club tour. Ain't going to happen. You'll be back on a plane pretty quick, because you'll realise that the streets here are not lined with gold. You've got to do all your legwork in advance. But it's not cheap to live, you know. Hotels cost, and I'm assuming you're in Australia. It's the situation there where you have like a circuit of gigs, and the owners have places for you to stay. That's not how it works over here, really. There's a lot of people on electric scooters knocking about. What's going on? More expensive in England, just a bit. It will make you cry. I mean, it makes those of us that live here cry these days. It is just so expensive. Fuel, you know, van hire, that would cripple you, really. It is excessive. So if you've got a big dream of doing like definitely do your homework before you get here. Don't just rock up here and think it's there for the taking. It isn't. That would have worked if you're an Australian band. You could do that back in the early 2000s, because there were so many pubs and clubs in London and the southeast, and there were chains. There was the Walkabout chain, and you could do all of those if you're from Australia, especially if you had a following. But once the bubble burst for the Southern Hemisphere visitors, where the government closed a loophole that meant you didn't pay tax on your earnings, once that closed, a lot of them went back. So where we had communities of Southern Hemisphere people, that all changed, especially in London. There were pockets where you could go and play 2, 3, 4 pubs in those areas, and they'd be rammed, and you'd make an absolute fortune. Doesn't even happen now. You know, I used to play the Redback in Acton, glory days. It's there. I don't think it's called the Redback. I think it's called the Aeronaut now. They certainly don't have bands. It's nothing like it used to be. Acton used to be a huge Australian, South African, Kiwi sort of area. Certainly isn't now. Electric Lowen, Finland will make you cry even more. I've heard, yeah, Scandinavia. There was talk that Uncle Funk were coming over to do a Scandinavian tour next year, but the agent keeps talking about it and doesn't book anything, so we don't think it's going to happen. But we hope. We live in hope. Gareth, Brexit killed bands touring from abroad, especially European bands. All of that. UK in the last 9 years is not the place it was. Positive in the sort of early 2010s. Career was going pretty good. COVID had, no one knew COVID was going to happen. But since Brexit and Trump round one, the UK and the world globally has just been on this massive slide. I don't I don't feel hyper positive and enthusiastic like I did back then. I feel now, certainly sort of as a musician in the UK, you're kind of hanging in there. And people will always want live music, but the problem you got is that if there's nowhere for the younger element to play and learn how to do this, how are you going to have good bands in the next 10, 20, 30, 40, 50 years? I'll be long gone. But I don't know where youngsters are meant to learn what we did or what I did back in the 90s and 2000s. That was a very rich learning curve. So everything I've learned up to this point, I got from those initial years of constant gigging and playing. But I don't know where the kids go and do it now. I just don't. You can't assemble all those skills just doing a function band. There's something to be said for the constant playing a Thursday, playing a Friday, playing a Saturday, playing a Sunday, and especially if you're doing it with the same band members, because you get that tightness you can't get otherwise. You can't get it out of a rehearsal room. Rock fan, Colorado, New York, and California are all fighting against the current government in USA. Yep. Someone said on the live chat the other week, shall we go to America? And I went, absolutely not. Just, no, until that leadership changes, there is no way on earth I'm putting a penny in that guy's pocket. No chance. Especially now what's going on with the BBC. He's going to sue the BBC for between $1 billion and $5 billion. Do me a favour. He's going to get thrown out of court. Nonsense. They were saying if he had wanted to do that, he could have taken it to, in order for him to take it to court in the UK, he would have had to have done it within 12 months from the point of broadcasting, which was last October. We're in November. It's a bit late. You can't do it through a British court. And in America, the rule is he would have to prove that it was shown on American TV at the time, which it wasn't. So his the damage to his reputation has not even happened because they haven't seen it. So they've only seen it since the news story blew up. There's no way to get $1 billion to $5 billion. That's just wishful thinking. Not going to happen. But no, I'm not in a... I'd love to come to America, and I keep getting people ask me, are you going to play gigs in America? I've never played a gig in America, and I probably never will because I don't play in the right bands. Rock fan, current generation doesn't want to leave their computers, correct? I agree with that. Gareth Harrison, even function bands need to prove themselves somewhere before they can justify huge pay. Yeah, but a lot of them don't. I see loads of stuff here in London, bands being set up with big production budgets and parents of people putting bands together. They're bedroom players, or they've come out of music school. They haven't done the hard yards, but maybe that's the way it's going to go. Space 34, where are you from? London. London, sir. Although if you look at the location for this live chat, it'll say Amesbury, which is near Salisbury, which is very near Stonehenge. If that helps with the geographics for you. But I'm from London. What would you like to know? We're talking bass guitars, bass players, bass playing, bass amplifiers, bass effects, bass accessories. What would you like to know? I'm sat outside my gig today, so I'm just waiting for the rest of the band to turn up before we start loading in. Have I been to Turkey? I've flown over Turkey. I've been to Cyprus, gigged in Cyprus about 3 years ago. Never been to Turkey to play. Never been to Turkey to... No, I've never been to Turkey at all. Rock fan, would you rather have a set contracted price to play a gig or a percentage of ticket sales? Contracted price every day of the week. Why? Why haven't I been there? Because I haven't. Never had the opportunity to play there. Never been on holiday there. I don't know anyone there. So no, never been there. Gareth, when staying in a hotel, you unload the car and take all your gear in the hotel with you? Pretty much. Pretty much. I left the cabin here last night, and I left a box of lights. Both of those things were covered up, but all my cases, in-ears, bases, bags, all came in. I remember doing, actually, when we did a bunch of Uncle Funk stuff in the summer of 22, when there were quite a few gigs where I stayed over because we had Fridays and Saturdays, and it made no sense to go home. Taking all the gear, cabs as well, into my hotel room, and there was nowhere to move. So I stopped doing that. And actually on Uncle Funk shows, we don't have cabs anyway, so I got out of that habit. You font Siki here. I don't know what that means, so you'll need to translate that for me. Westfort, I've sent a couple of messages to Japan base shop that had Indigo Parametrics to know if think they were the bases now. I think I get what they had one and they've sold it and you wonder where it is. I think you, as a friend, I think you could waste a lot of time and your life searching for this idyllic flip-flop parametric status. You might get lucky. I think you're best off just doing your thing, and if one crosses your path, be in the position to buy it if it becomes available. But I think the never-ending search for this ideal base could take up a lot of time and effort and energy. But it's your thing, you go for it. Juice, have you ever played EUB, electric upright bass? Just pulled trigger on my first. I think I reviewed a couple. We had a couple that came through from Bass Direct at different times over the life of the mag. Never done one professionally on a gig, but review wise, yes, done a couple. Yeah, Bass Direct had a couple that came through. There was one that was a self-assembly one that would like individual parts, and you sort of bolted it all together and screwed it together. It worked quite well. It sounded really good. I remember doing the reviews and thinking, I think the price was about $3,500 at the time, maybe. I'd need to look up those on my hard drive, but yeah, I've never needed one. Never done that sort of work. I'm not into swing and all of that. That doesn't really interest me. And I mean, so many gigs now that come through on the bass depth groups on WhatsApp, and people say, oh, it's one set double bass and one set electric, and it's like, right, I'm out of the running for that. But I don't let it worry me. I just don't have the time to do all that. I can't justify it. There isn't. If I was joining a band, they said, look, we need you to have an upright or electric upright, and this is what we pay, and we're doing 2-3 gigs a week, and then I'd do it. But it's not something I'm going to put myself out there, spend a whole load of time and money to put in place, and then not have any work to do it. I think you know, you can waste a lot of time and life chasing things like that. So I just tend not to be fair. What's that say? Have you ever had your bass or gear stolen before, during, or after a gig? Yeah. Although thankfully not the basses. I did a gig in 1999. I was playing at the Roadhouse in Covent Garden, and I had my bandmate Steve Overland in the car with me, and we drove to the Roadhouse. And with the Roadhouse, you used to park in a back road in Covent Garden and then walk down an alleyway, and the rear entrance to the Roadhouse where you loaded in was there in that alleyway. You banged on the door, security came and opened it, you started loading your gear in, and we must have got our first bags, literally our bags with our costumes in for that night, in, put them down at the top of the stairway, because it sort of gradually went down from the loading door and then round, and it sort of went round on itself. Went back to the car to get guitars, and in the time it took us, literally no more than about 30 or 40 seconds to walk back away from that door, down to the car to pick up 3 or 4 guitars and come back, someone, a tramp, we think, because they had him on security TV, had come out of the toilet that was next door to the back of the Roadhouse. He'd come out, jumped in, taken the bags with the costumes and gone. We didn't even see him, didn't even see a shadow, nothing. We went back down and went, where's the bags? And everyone went, what bags? I said, the bags we put there that had our costumes. Had our wallet, or I had my wallet, my one, my phone. I haven't seen it, mate. So I had no bag, no costume, lost my wallet, lost my phone. I was absolutely crestfallen, and I kicked up such a stink at the venue that after that gig, so that was December 99, after that gig, from that point on until the Roadhouse closed in 2020, that's why when a band loaded in, there were always security guards on the back door. It's because of that night. So I had to report it to the local police station at Charing Cross. Bizarrely, the next day, my bag, my clothes, and some form of ID from my wallet was found in a litter bin in Trafalgar Square, and I had to go and pick it all up from the police station. But no, my wallet was there, and all my cards were there, but the guy had nicked the cash out of the wallet, but left everything else intact. But I'd already cancelled all the cards, and the mobile phone went. So that was it, but no one nicked any gear. And so far, the only thing I've had stolen was a little box full of plectrums and screwdrivers and stuff that I had on top of my Hartkey rig when I did a support gig. We were playing with glam rock tribute band I used to play with, and we were on a bill with a Beatles tribute. I think, well, I won't say what the name of the Beatles tribute was. And I think either the bass player or the crew that they had with them, because they were using my rig, when they finished, the guy just went, right, took all and left my rig there, but took the box with plectrums and screwdrivers and Allen keys and all of that, strap buttons in there. And I was annoyed because some of that stuff was given to me when I first started. So that's all I've had stolen. I have left the bass outside a place we were staying about 20 years ago. Brought bass out because I had to go to a gig later that day. Got in the car with my partner, drove over to her mum and dad's for lunch. And I'm thinking, where's my bass? She said, you didn't put a bass in the car. I said, but I brought a bass down the stairs. Flew, literally, that car must have done about 100 down the A40. Got back, the bass was still perched in the doorway of the house. It was my empathy, the red empathy. It was there in its gig bag, and I tell you, I think I cried because I thought, I can't believe that's not been stolen. No one took it, thankfully. Thank God. Other than that, no, I've had no gear stolen at all. Gareth, not bass related, but what you're watching on TV at the moment? Great British Bake Off, which is my guilty pleasure after live chats on a Tuesday night. I just finished watching Endor, second series, which was fabulous. What else am I watching? Yellowstone. Just started watching that on Netflix. Hadn't watched it before. And yeah, sort of working my way through that at the moment. What are you watching? Potsy, hey, good to see you. Oh, you're writing in German. I used to read German. If you're going to come on my channel, you need to translate before you post, if that's okay. So if you can sling that into Google Translate, copy and paste the result and stick it back in, that'd be fabulous. Westford, don't worry, I keep doing what I do. I will not take my whole life to search for one. Good. If you wish to, that's up to you, of course. But don't waste your life. Not chasing a bass, that's for sure. Gareth, I had an SB700 stolen at a gig once. Oof. Managed to get it back as it turned out in cash converters a few weeks later. Excellent. Did you get it back and not have to pay for it? And what happened to them? Well, I guess they would claim on the insurance, wouldn't they? Fair enough. Yeah. Anyone else had stuff stolen on gigs? I'm pretty good at keeping an. If I get a vibe in a place that I think stuff might start going walkabout. I know someone actually. We did a covers gig at the Swan in Stockwell, and someone tried to nick my fan. I used to have a fan on top of my amp to blow cigarette smoke back into an audience and to keep me sort of cool temperature-wise on a gig. And some Herbert came up onto the stage, didn't nick the guitars or anything else. He tried to nick my fan. And the drummer said, no, I just caught him walking out with your fan. I was like, good, did you hit him with it? He went, nah. I said, you should have done. Don't do it again. Would have been the correct cadence. How many times have I got to tell you not to do it? You know, that sort of thing. Knock some sense into them. Yeah, but no, other than that, no, nothing's ever been stolen. I mean, bases have gone walkabout coming through airports, and I've not seen them at the other end. It's taken a few days for them to arrive back home. But other than that, no. I'm pretty diligent. I mean, this is the joy of like the Trace Elliott Elf. You know, if you're in a gig and you think someone's looking at my gear and they might try and hoik a Class D amp, lovely thing with the Elf is you just turn it off, unplug it, and put it in the back pocket of your jeans. It's great. Westford, my dad has his Ibanez RDGR 5-string stolen. Ooh. Did he get it back? Rock fan, would you play in the Netherlands or France at this time, or would you wait? No, I play anywhere if the money's on the table and someone's organising it. Where are we now? Oh, we're meant to be playing in Holland with Uncle Funk next year. It was booked in for July the 4th, but they've changed the date. We're waiting to get the rescheduled date through. So we're potentially going to be there next year. What else is there? There's some other bits and bobs abroad work next year coming up, so it's all good. Yes, he got it back. Okay, that's good. Glenn Carragher, hey, do me a favor, go get your shine box. What? Do me a favor, get off the channel. How about that? Gareth, love my Elf for that reason. It lives in your gig bag as a backup. Yeah, it's in mine. It's in my gig case. Always carried. It's just it's so perfect for that reason, you know. Oh, you're gonna be a dick, are you? You're off, mate. Bye. Yeah. The Elf is a good piece of kit for that, and not that expensive. You know, it's worth having it there just as a backup for any amp. You know, it'll get you through if something goes wrong. Amps have a tendency to blow when you least expect. Well, not even blow, just stop working. Dry joints, heat, blown components, all that sort of thing. So, yeah. Can also use it as a preamp direct to P8. Yeah, I've done that. I had it as a spare on just off my pedal board in case the Aguilar tone hammer preamp pedal ever goes. All I've got to do is just take the cable straight out the back, plug them in, bang, off we go. Nice and easy and doesn't take up much space as a footprint, so we're all good. Rock fan, your opinion on the old tube bass amps? They have their own place, you know. I've got a Mesa Boogie Strategy 888, which is full of tubes. I've got the Aguilar DB751, which is kind of a quasi-tube MOSFET amp. It depends what tone you're going for and what you want it to do. And some people swear by tubes for bass and all the coloration and the resonances and harmonic overtones you get. And in some capacities, that's great. Reliability, I'd say a solid state amp is always going to be slightly more reliable. And cheaper because you're not replacing valves and having them rebiased and all of that. Yeah, it's different. Horses for courses. It's what works for you, what instruments you're playing. You know, if you want that old school, you know, Gibson Thunderbird or a Ricky through through a valve head, you're not going to replicate that with a solid state amp. But you know, with bass, you're really looking for power and cleanliness of tone generally, unless you're into the Ampeg high watt, you know, give the valves a good hard push and see if they start breaking up. So it's what works for you. So I've got a couple of examples of everything. That's our Brian May's just pulled up. It's going to pull up right here. So that's good. Bass player and guitarist are on. Just waiting for the drummer and the singer now. But it's all good. Westfort, there's a Mark King 500 Ashdown head on Bass Direct. Is the red one. I have a feeling that might be Marcus's own amp that he's selling. I don't know. Might be, might not be. But yeah, I saw that on there. Gareth, tube watts are not the same as solid state watts. Couldn't agree more. 100 watt Ashdown, I think it's the CTM 100. It's thunderous. Shook my office to its foundations when I was reviewing it. I wanted to push it, see how loud it could get. And yeah, 100 watts. It was absolutely full on. And I'm like, Now I've got like 600 and 750 watt amps, and they ain't as loud as this, but they're not. They're usually solid state with valves in the preamp. But yeah, an all valve head. You look at the wattage and think, oh, that's not loud. No, it is. Valves are hefty. But try and be surprised. Westfort, it's in a rack, so maybe. Yeah, I think it's probably Mark's old one. He sells a lot of his old moving basses and stuff on. It's all good. Sorry, I didn't mean to snort there. Sorry, apologies. Rob Fan, thank you for another great live stream. It's my pleasure. It's what I'm here for. I will see you stream again soon. Take it easy. We're live on Tuesday, 8 p.m. UK time. There might well be a whole load of live streams this week because I've got no gigs. So I'm editing like a demon this week and filming new content and all of that stuff. So yeah, in fact, we're coming up on 2 hours. So I know my phone is about to run out of juice. I'm going to go into the gig. We're going to get this gig done. We might do another live chat later if I can get enough reception and do something while we're doing sound check. I will. So don't stray too far. You might get a notification to say we're going live, in which case you can hear the new bass. So I'll love you and leave you for now. I'm going to go and start the setup, and don't be surprised if we're back within an hour. Okay. On that note, thank you very much for your company. It's been a pleasure. Please give the video a thumbs up if you've enjoyed it. And there'll be some more live chats through this week, but there might be another one in the next hour. We will see. I'll get the gear set up, get it all firing, and if I can do something, we will. Even if it's just 20 minutes or so, you can hear the new bass. Go and enjoy your Saturdays. Take it easy and look after yourselves. I'll see you soon. Take